Why is it so important to win the first time? Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. Yesterday, a potential client sent me a denial of an appeal at the Board of Immigration Appeals. Now, when you reach the Board of Immigration Appeals, that means you've lost several times, and he was thinking about hiring us to appeal to the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, which is one step below the Supreme Court. When you start talking about filing in the BIA or at a Circuit Court of Appeals or even at the Supreme Court, you're taking a real long shot at getting to stay in the United States. And so as we turned that case down and we turned that fine person away, I was sort of struck by the fact of how important it is to win at the beginning of your case and why you really need to focus all of your energies on winning at the immigration court or at USCIS or at the State Department, because for all intents and purposes, you really only have one shot at this. Too often, immigrants say to themselves sometimes that they're going to take their shot, see what happens, and then if they screw it up or if they get denied, then they'll talk to an immigration lawyer. Then they'll go ahead and spend some money on filing the strongest case possible or cleaning things up. This is actually a counterproductive strategy. It actually works backwards, and it's going to cost you more money, more headache, more sadness in the long run. We see it time and time again. People say, my case is simple. My case is easy. I'm going to go ahead and file it on my own. It's just filling out forms, right? And then they find themselves on the hot seat at the interview because they didn't see something coming. They didn't spot the issues. And that, my friends, is the greatest thing about working with experienced immigration lawyers. That is that lawyers have done this hundreds and hundreds of times, and they've seen hundreds and hundreds of cases. So they've seen different scenarios, different fact patterns, different problems, different issues many, many times. And so one of the reasons I really enjoy doing my Immigration Answers live show is that I get to keep myself sharp. I get to talk to people out on the front lines, people going through the immigration process, and I get to hear over and over again about different scenarios, different problems, different mistakes that people make. I also think that's one of the reasons why people like watching this show. I'm always learning, and every good immigration lawyer is always learning. You're always taking the lessons that you've learned from your prior cases and applying them to the new ones. Well, if you've never filed a green card case before, or if you've never filed an immigrant visa case before, or if you've never applied for citizenship or asylum, then you don't know what you don't know. And that's the biggest problem, my friends. That's the problem with this philosophy. It's that you think that you're just going to be able to get the thing started and then bring in a lawyer as needed. But this is backwards thinking, because what happens is you get nailed down to a certain story. You find yourself behind a particular pitfall and a big rock that's keeping you from getting the immigration benefit that you want. And when you find yourself in that scenario, it's often a lot more expensive and a lot harder to dig out, to get out, to save yourself, and to get your case approved. One time I had a client who went ahead and filed for his citizenship on his own. He didn't spot several issues related to the case, and that led to him getting his case denied. I don't want you to make that mistake. You certainly don't have to hire our firm. You certainly don't have to hire an attorney in every single case. There are some cases where you probably don't need an attorney, maybe an extension of status or something simple like an EAD renewal. But when it comes to fundamental shifts in your immigration status, going from a student visa, say, to a green card holder, or from a student visa to an H-1B, or from a green card to citizenship, these are the important junctures, the important times, the important stages where you need to think seriously about bringing in the attorney sooner rather than later. Some law firms will do a consult for you and talk to you about your case. We don't do paid consults. We don't review cases for people. We're either in or out. We want to be your attorney, or we don't want to be involved at all, because we set ourselves up for liability, and we also aren't going to be there on the ground throughout the case, and we're not going to be able to give you the advice that you need as you navigate the entire process. So if you're thinking that you might want to hire a competent attorney who knows what they're doing, we have many of them here at our firm. We've done this many, many times. And this video is not a sales pitch. It's more so a clarion call to warn you of the perils of trying to do it on your own at the beginning. Because if you don't win before the immigration officer before you, and you have to appeal to the administrative appeals office, or if you lose in front of the immigration judge, you're going to find yourself filing these appeals, and the percentage of success just keeps shrinking and shrinking. So you've got to go all in at the beginning. You got to give them everything that you got to try to get that case approved right at the outset. Hope this makes sense. Like I said, if you're thinking about hiring an attorney and you want to give us a call, our phone number, 314-961-8200. Our email, info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. Now, I mentioned the Immigration Answer Show. This is a free show that I do 3 or 4 times a week on our YouTube channel and in our Facebook group, which is called Immigrant Home. If you're looking for free advice or just want to bounce a general immigration idea off of me, you should join us, and you can do that by subscribing to the YouTube channel or joining that Immigrant Home Facebook group. We'd love to have you there, and we'll see you next time.